it shows no signs of letting up. Tonight, 10,000 Harris supporters packed into an arena in Atlanta, Georgia. The vice president was introduced by three-time Grammy winner and rap megastar Megan Thee Stallion. Vice President Harris used that moment to issue a direct challenge to Donald Trump.
The momentum in this race is shifting. And there are signs that Donald Trump is feeling it. He pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. Well, Donald.
Watch this. Kamala's about to rip it right here. Watch this.
I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
Well, that rally comes as new battleground state polling shows that Kamala Harris has effectively wiped out Trump's lead in all of the key swing states. In Michigan, the latest Bloomberg Morning Consult poll finds Harris leading.
This is so funny how quickly the polling is changing. You know, they take polling every day at every new event. They take it at every new Trump event, pretty much. If it's a big one, they take it at the Democrats' events if it's big. And it doesn't even only have to be at a Kamala Harris or a Trump event. It could be any other engagement that the Republicans or Democrats are having, right? Or it could be news media also gatherings they're having, or any other. It could be also their PACs that are organizing it. You never know what it is, but they're doing polling. So check out how fast it's moving.
Trump by 11 points. That is a major shift in that state. In all 6 other battleground states polled, Harris and Trump are in a statistical tie within the margin of error. Harris leads by 2 points in Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Trump leads Harris by 4 points in Pennsylvania and by 2 points in North Carolina. The candidates, they are running dead even in Georgia. As the vice president's campaign heats up, the Republican candidate and his running mate, well, they are spending their time running away from their own unpopular statements.
Let's just go back. Look, Kamala Harris, she said something really interesting. And that is, she brought up the differences, you know. Well, she didn't bring it up directly, but it just is what it is. She's a woman. Donald Trump's not. So there's issues about human and civil rights for women in the United States historically that have to be addressed. Then, and which obviously are today as well, still present today. These things linger, right? Then there's the issue about ethnicity that comes up too, indirectly, because she's not bringing it up herself, but others are bringing it up against her. So she has to speak on it. Now, here's the thing. It's ironic because Trump has spoken a lot about those things, but now he knows he has to face someone that is now going to address it since you made it an issue, right? And, you know, that's got to be the worst nightmare for Trump. That's exactly what it has to be. He can't take the heat. You see, the heat that he brought on himself. Watch.
Well, that rally comes as new battle.
Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say, say it to my face.
So Trump don't want to take the debates anymore now, basically.
Well, that rally comes as new battleground state polling shows that Kamala Harris has effectively wiped out Trump's lead in all of the key swing states. In Michigan, the latest Bloomberg Morning Consult poll finds Harris leading Trump by 11 points. That is a major shift in that state. In all 6 other battleground states polled, Harris
11 points just in a few days, just in about 2 days. That's shifted already, plus 11
Trump
points.
are in a statistical tie within the margin of error. Harris leads by 2 points in Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Trump leads Harris by 4 points in Pennsylvania and by 2 points.
Already changes the map. Look at this. She's making wins. There's 3 paths, but the 2 main paths, she's making improvements. she's actually taking it to them in those states. And now, just within a couple of days, the northern path to victory, she's taking a lead, like in Michigan, Wisconsin, right? +2, +11. That wasn't like that 2 days ago or 3 days ago, right? Now, if you go west and towards the south, what do you got? Nevada, the southwest, you got Nevada and Arizona. She wasn't up +2 2 days or 3 days ago. See, now it's +2, and those are, you could lose southwest, or you could lose the north, like Michigan and Wisconsin, but you can't lose both. If you lose Michigan or Wisconsin, one of those, you have to get one of the southwestern ones also, as the theory goes. You can't lose both paths to victory. You see what I mean? So she's making gains in those key states just in the last 2 days.
To North Carolina. The candidates, they are running dead even in Georgia. As the vice president's campaign heats up, the Republican candidate and his running mate, well, they are spending their time running away from their own unpopular statements and policies. For weeks, Democrats have been hammering the Trump campaign over Project 2025, the extreme policy agenda created by a conservative think tank as a blueprint for a second Trump administration. Today, the Daily Beast was first to report that the Trump campaign has officially forced that conservative think tank to part ways with an architect of Project 2025. According to that report,
What?
Trump campaign manager Chris LaSavita put the
Whoa.
screws to
Wait a
mastermind Paul
second.
Dance in an
Hold on.
effort to
Hold on.
force
Hold
him
on.
out. The Trump campaign has officially forced that conservative think tank to part ways with an architect of Project 2025. Today, the Daily Beast was first to report that the Trump campaign has officially forced that conservative think tank to part ways with an architect of Project 2025. According to that report, Trump campaign manager Chris LaSavita put the screws to mastermind Paul Dance in an effort to force him out and shut down the right-wing shop behind Project 2025.
It won't work, and nor should it ever work. When somebody openly threatens you like this, you have to believe the threats. And this is not a new thing, these kind of threats. These threats have just grown and gotten more solidified over the years from the right. Always threatening civil war. This has been going on for decades and decades. Always threatening, using hateful speech. They've been doing this for decades. So just parting ways with the architect of 2025, that won't simply change it, because this is not just them. This is a persistent thing. It just has a new face next year. Project 2020, Project 30, Project 2028, it'll be called, with new names, because a sector of American society feels the way Trump does. That's why he's spoken about it for years. That's why they've been talking about civil war and these other kind of egregious acts for years, and speaking that hate language for years, always dividing people, and you only give a small group something while the multitude get nothing. That's how they use the division tactic. So this ain't going to work. He can distance himself all he wants, but that's just bullshit. Take the threats seriously.
Following that reporting, the Trump campaign released a statement trying to publicly distance itself from the project, saying, quote, reports of Project 2025's demise would be greatly welcome. But if Trump really wants to cut ties with Project 2025, well, he might have to start firing people a little closer to home. A new book from the architects of Project 2025 promoting their extreme agenda is set to be released later this year. And the foreword to that new Project 2025 book was written by none other than Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance. Vance even promoted the book back when its original title was, get this, Dawn's Early Light, Burning Down Washington to Save America, with a cover image showing a match over the word Washington. The Trump campaign has already spent the past week in damage control mode over the choice for Trump's running mate. Vance, as you know, has tried to explain away bizarre and offensive statements he made denigrating adults who do not have children, referring to them derisively as childless cat ladies, even arguing that parents' votes should count for more than those of non-parents. Those comments appear to be more than just a one-off. Reporters have now unearthed even more video of J.D. Vance calling people without...
Like all parents agree. What's wrong with this dude, man? That's the slickness of what he's saying, because that logic doesn't even work with anybody for any reason. All types of no group of people, no category agree on everything 100%. That's
About
crazy.
children deranged, psychotic, and sociopaths.
There's just these basic cadences of life that I think are really powerful and really, really valuable when you have kids in your life. And the fact that so many people, especially in America's leadership class, just don't have that in their lives,
Yo, I have kids, and I utterly disagree with this guy's statement.
I worry that it makes people more sociopathic and ultimately our whole country a little bit less less mentally stable. You go on Twitter, and almost always the people
Look,
who are most deranged.
Just because you have kids doesn't necessarily mean you don't learn and grow and change, or not change, not learn, not adjust, not grow. Some parents don't. Some parents do. You can't judge it that way. It just is what it is. All parents aren't successful. Some parents are. Some parents aren't.
And most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home.
We care about children because we're not sociopaths, and we don't want to live in a society of sociopaths.
Joining me now, Democratic Senator from California, Alex Padilla. Senator, thank you.
Vance makes some poorly put together arguments. It doesn't even almost matter what he's saying. Even just the arguments are put together poorly, almost like he made no effort to present that concept or to make it make sense to anybody.
So much for being with us. We will get to your fellow Senator J.D. Vance in just a second. But first, I want to talk about that new polling out today from Bloomberg News and Morning Consult. It shows Trump and Harris in competitive races across 7 swing states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. That is of course, a stronger showing than we saw when that was a matchup between President Biden and former President Trump. I wonder what you think it is about Harris's candidacy that is really activating those voters.
Yeah, well, first of all, Lisa, good to be back with you. And the numbers are not surprising. I think the one thing that we didn't hear Kamala say is,
you know what?
Bring it on, because we know that Vice President.
It's only going to get worse for Trump. It's only going to get worse. He's not going to get more votes. He's not going to get more loopholes made for him through the Supreme Court, through the courts. He's not going to be given any immunity. When it's all said and done, Trump is going to go out like a person who does the things that he does goes out like. That's how he's going to go out. And we're about to find out because he has been bold. You threaten the countrymen of the United States. That's what Trump has done. He's threatened his own countrymen to abandon the Constitution for a day, to get himself immunity and become a dictator. You see, that means he's going against the people of the country. That's so serious. It's so serious. It shouldn't even be a matter of party. What party do you support? This is not party politics anymore. The Republicans no longer represent a political party in the U.S. They're an extremist group, essentially. That's what they are. They threaten the Constitution, and the military and everybody else takes an oath to protect the Constitution.
President Harris is bringing it to the campaign trail, and you see the numbers shifting. You see the excitement. I mean, you saw that crowd in Atlanta tonight. Well, more than 10,000 people at that rally. That felt like a mini convention already, while the Democratic convention is still a couple of weeks away. But I think the response to her entering the race, the quick consolidation of support amongst Democrats and what we're feeling on the ground, to me, it doesn't come as a surprise. I've known her leadership and the electric nature of her personality for many years from our days in California. You don't get to be a successful DA in San Francisco, a successful attorney general in California, a U.S. senator for California, and then be picked by President Biden to be the vice president without the credibility, the experience, the credentials, and the ideas to move our country forward. That's what people are responding to. The race may be close today, but we're feeling increasingly positive about Democratic wins in November. We just have 98 days to continue to do the work.
Senator Padilla, there's new reporting. Harris planning to campaign with her running mate as early as next week. Your sense of the most important qualities she needs to be looking for as she vets those candidates?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. I mean, it's probably the most important and personal selection that she'll make in her career. Who will be her ultimate governing partner in the Harris administration in the next 4 years? And I think just as President Biden did with her, she's going to look first at somebody who is ready to step into the role of President of the United States if necessary. So there won't be a debate about qualifications or preparation. It'll be somebody that she feels comfortable with, will be a true governing partner, and a lot of great talent on the Democratic bench for her to choose from. I couldn't be more excited.
As you said,
8 days?
Or preparation, it'll be somebody that she feels comfortable with, will be a true governor, be her ultimate governing
qualities she needs to be looking for as she vets those candidates?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. I mean, it's probably the most important and personal selection that she'll make in her career. Who will be her ultimate governing partner in the Harris administration in the next 4 years? And I think just as President Biden did with her, she's going to look first at somebody who is ready to step into the role of President of the United States if necessary. So there won't be a debate about qualifications or preparation. It'll be somebody that she feels comfortable with, will be a true governing partner, and a lot of great talent on the Democratic bench for her to choose from. I couldn't be more excited.
As you said, a lot of excitement that bears out in the polling that you and I were just talking about. It also bears out in the fundraising numbers we have seen since she announced her candidacy. And yet the campaign and Vice President Harris herself quick to remind us that she remains the underdog in this race. How do you see it?
Look, it's a mentality that we have to keep. And again, as someone who has been a first in so many steps in my career, first Latino president of the Los Angeles City Council, first Latino Secretary of State in California, first Latino represent California in the United States Senate, I know what she has gone through and has to fight to overcome to prove herself. Her election as DA in San Francisco, Attorney General in California, to become the first woman, African-American, Southeast Asian Vice President of the United States, and on the verge of making tremendous history for our country. That's a lot that you're working against, let alone the negativity, the hate from Trump and MAGA Republicans. It is not lost on us. November is not.
The thing is that for Donald Trump, it's okay. To some degree, since you have freedom of speech, it's great to express your views as long as you don't do it in such a hateful way because of, restrictions regarding hate speech. But it's very cowardice to have these extreme dislikes that Donald Trump claims he doesn't like and then refuse to debate. That's almost like going back to 1940s where they were just like, a white person could just say, I'm not going to debate no N-word. And they could disqualify you openly like that because of your race, because of your ethnicity, because of your color. They could do that. And today it's not acceptable to do it that way. But here you have Donald Trump basically finding a similar way to do it.
Guaranteed. We know the stakes are high, but increasingly Democrats across the country and independents across the country are ready to put in the work to organize, fundraise, get out the vote, because we need to win this November.
Senator Padilla, I only have about a minute left, but I do want to get your take on your colleague J.D. Vance and the fact that Americans are continuing to learn about some of the comments he has made about childless people, specifically childless women. You surprised by any of it?
It's appalling. It is offensive. And as much as we've learned by now, I'm sure there's more coming from where that came from. But it's not shocking in the least bit because we also know who Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump chose as his running mates nothing other than a yes man mini-me. And it's just a continued reflection of what we know Donald Trump is all about. He's not about governance. He's not about inclusivity. He's not about anything positive. He's about hate, bitterness, division. His only agenda, tax breaks for the wealthy and extremist judges that are part of why we're in this position to begin with. Democracy is at stake. Democracy is on the ballot this November, and we're going to do what it takes to win.
I've asked you a lot about the odds, so thank you for refocusing us on the stakes. California Senator Alex Padilla, as always, thanks for your time.